a little bit about, some of the work you're doing.
Well, what's great is we've been at investing in early stage companies for about 10 years. So this next year will be our 10th year. And one of the wonderful things is we've had companies that started with us 10 years ago, grown, hired people, and have exited. Other companies from outside the region have bought. We just announced 2 weeks ago a company called OnPay, a Hispanic-led founder, started a company about 6 or 7 years ago, and they got acquired by a Swedish company. Great to see it. 30 employees are now working in a bigger company. And that company now is moving their national headquarters to Jacksonville, Florida, of all places. So that's what it's really about. It's about wealth creation, it's about job creation, it's about economic impact. And it's taking a founder's dream and idea and turning it into reality. And that's what we do. We invest seed money and capital into those companies. We select the best founders we can, almost regardless of their idea or field that they're in, and we work with them. We coach them, we mentor them. Over about a year and a half, we invest some seed capital, and the hopes is to grow that company into something that's of value to the founder and possibly to another owner. So we're having a ball. We just announced last June of last year that we're raising another $20 million fund to invest in another 20 to 30 companies. And one of the commitments we made when we started the REA Fund was that 50% of that capital is going to go to women and people of color founders. So we've been doing it now for a few years, and now we're taking some resources from other limited partners, and we're going to apply it right back into the market with those founders. So we're having a ball. It's really
Tell me a little bit give me a little I know you probably have a long bio, but tell us a little bit about how you all got started. You particularly, I know you retired and you do a lot of philanthropy work.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background and what you decided
well,
about right now.
I've been very fortunate. I've worked with some great people over my life. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy, and I went to the U.S. Marine Corps. I was an officer, and I learned leadership from some great leaders, combat leaders and instructors that taught me that it's about the people. It's about commitment. It's about integrity. It's about truth, honesty, and it's about conviction. And I went into business after my time in the Marine Corps, and I spent 30 years at the IP company. I was blessed again with great mentors, senior leaders that gave me really tough assignments. At the time, I don't know if I liked it, but what came out of it was I got better. They coached me, I made mistakes, but I always had someone that was guiding me along. And then I retired 10 years ago, and the big question was, how do I give back? All this I've learned and I've gained, how do I give back? I've always loved entrepreneurship. I've loved investing. I've loved the spirit of innovation. And with my years of working in technology at IBM, I got very comfortable with tech. So I said, I'm going to go invest and start working with founders. One of the byproducts of that was something called Leadership Week. I learned after a period of time that some of the early stage companies, they didn't have the benefit of training like I did, the mentoring and coaching like I did in the Marines and then at IBM. So we created a 4-day program called Leadership Week to teach the principles, what purpose-driven is, how to be an effective communicator, how to build a culture early in the life of a company. And that's now become another passion of mine. Mentoring and coaching and giving back is something we call PS27 Foundation. We do events for women and people of color and people that just have been underrepresented in entrepreneurship and venture capital for years. We reach out to them, bring them in, and spend time with them on their leadership and skills.
What do you think is missing being in Jacksonville? Me being from Jacksonville and feeling like I needed to leave and go to Atlanta or California. Yeah. What do you think is missing in Jacksonville? What do you think we need to understand that we can do, being from Jacksonville, to change that dynamic?
Yeah, I think it's changing, and I think it's changing rapidly. And I think it's because Jacksonville realizes what everybody else is doing around them. Companies that are smaller, or cities that are smaller, that are now taking off. Why? Because of this entrepreneurial ecosystem that's building out inside of these smaller cities. And they're watching this impact, this growth, these jobs, this technology and creativity that's coming into these great places to live. And Jacksonville's sitting back saying, We got the environment, we got the economics, we got the school system. We can do that too. So it's sort of an awakening that's happening, that's just happening right now in Jacksonville, that we can be like Austin, we can be like Raleigh, Charlotte, we can be like Miami, where we are today. They're seeing that the resources, the physical resources and the infrastructure is all there. All you need is leadership. All you need is a leader or leaders to embrace it and show the people this is what can happen. And it's beginning to happen, just like the exit we talked about recently with this company just 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it got acquired by a company from the outside. This other company said, we're going to leave New York and move our headquarters to Jacksonville. The more that happens, the more people believe. Jacksonville is one of these towns that it's like a superstar teenager that doesn't know yet its full potential. And it takes people like yourself and me and others to help remind the community, oh, we can do this. We can play big ball with the big boys right now. And I think that's all that's needed.
Let's talk about some of the innovation you're creating around supporting Black founders, women founders, Hispanic founders, minority founders, and some of the platforms you want to develop in the future.
Yeah, well, what we've discovered, what I've learned over time is that, and I mentor a lot of young African-American founders and a lot of women founders. We've been doing this from the very beginning. And for some reason, they sought me out, our firm out, for whatever reason, and we just got good at it. And one of the things that we learned early on was that it's about having an understanding of 2 or 3 basic things. One is embrace the financial understanding of the business. You gotta have a financial model. So one of the things we do as part of our program at PS27 is we teach finance. And we don't teach it as a class, we teach it as a business. And we do it every week. All the companies that we invest in, every Friday, they go through a drill with us around the business model, the economics, the financial. And we teach it by asking questions. And they learn by answering questions. And they go do the research. So that rhythm builds over a year and a half. The other is marketing. Marketing has changed from when I started out in business. It's digital now. You find your customers online. So developing skills around SEO, social media, influencer marketing, digital marketing, how to run a campaign. That's something we teach. We actually brought on a resource some years ago, a young lady, Christine Caven, that's on our team. And they focus 100% on helping build brand online and drive customer adoption online. And the third thing is leadership. Because if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to be a good leader. And you start out by learning to be a good follower. So we create an environment where the leader embraces this concept of, I may have founded the company, but being a CEO is something really, really different. So day one, we start talking about you as a CEO, not you as a founder, you as a CEO, your team, your culture. Our motto is think big, start small. Where you got to think this is going to be 100 people, not 10 people. It's going to be 100 people. When it's 100 people, how are you going to manage? You're not going to be able to do everything. You have to delegate. So we created Leadership Week as an experience for that. And as an outreach to women, we created something called the Female Founders Forum. It's a women's only program. It's probably 250 to 300 women that come every year. It's always on International Women's Day. And it's women teaching women that have gone through the experience of entrepreneurship, done a big exit, created something significant. They're now teaching an audience of 300 women. This is what it's like. This is what you got to go through. This is what you need to understand and learn. This is how you can manage in a male environment if that's where you end up. But this is how you can survive and be successful. One of the things that we've got coming, and we haven't announced this publicly, but we are planning a Black Entrepreneurs Forum. We're going to do it in June of 2023, and it's the same thing. We're going to expose our city. We're going to expose hundreds, possibly thousands of people to very successful role model African-American leaders, men and women, that have done it. To just show people, this is what it looks like, and it can be done. We're going to introduce them to venture capitalists. We're going to bring VCs in to meet some of the young startups that are coming along. But it's going to be a huge conference, similar to what we're at here at eMerge. to bring the environments together and show people this is what's possible. You can do something big. You can change the world. But you got to start small, but think big.
I'm a visionary filmmaker, Savon Zell, founder of Tech in Black and White. It's just such an honor to be at a conference and walk into one of the leaders of my city where I was born and raised and have an opportunity to talk to him. You know, he's leading by example. He's always been leading by example, always been pouring back into our community. I sent him an email probably a year ago. And you know how the law of attraction works. You attract the things you need in your life at the perfect time. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, man.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for just giving us your time. And we'll see you when we're back in Jacksonville.
Absolutely.